Hello, Daniel Gargiulo here, Click Practice Lead for Acumen BI. Today I'm going to take you through the Acumen I-Chart, a control chart extension for QlikSense. We welcome your feedback on this extension, and we're also interested to receive your feedback on other control charts that you are interested in us to develop in the future, and based on that we will put out a future roadmap for this and other extensions. Today I'm going to walk you through firstly an overview of the extension that we've developed and then also the configuration options for that. Before we get into an overview of the extension, I'll just briefly show you how you can import that into your QlikSense enterprise environment. Essentially, it's just the same as most other QlikSense extensions. If you go into the Qlik Management Console, into the Manage Resources section, you'll see extensions. And then down the bottom, you can go import. I won't complete that process, but all you need to do is choose the file and import that. So the extension is essentially the chart that main chart that you can see here. What we have is basically developed that where you have the blue line is the events or your data points of interest that are plotted over time. Once we have that and the date dimension and the x-axis, we're then able to automatically calculate the average and the upper and lower control limits. Now, some additional features that we have in here that are important to note are we can highlight rule outliers, we can highlight runs, and we can highlight trends. Now, the runs and the trends, as a developer or as an analyst, you have the ability to determine the number of points that go into making up a run or making up a trend. The other key feature that we have built into this is the ability to add in breakpoints or what we call recalculation events. And so at a recalculation event, the data points that go into making up the average and the upper and lower control limits will change. Now, you have the ability to define a recalculation event or a breakpoint based on several different scenarios. So you can set it to never recalculate, you can set a manual input, you can set it based on a run event being identified, based on a trend event being identified, or you can set it based on a run or a trend event being identified. So you can see here at this point here, the next 7 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those 7 points were a run event that were above the historical average up until that point. And so it has put the breakpoint or the recalculation event at the start of the run. Now, if we go further down the chart, you can scroll and you'll see here what's been identified is a trend event. So in this case, it is 6 or more points decreasing consecutively. And again, you'll see that the recalculation event or the breakpoint has actually been put at the end of the trend, because we say at the end of that trend is likely where the new average and the new upper and lower control limits should be calculated from. Now, just like any other Qlik chart, you can interact with this. So if you wanted to select a particular years that go into making up this or other filter or dimension fields, we're able to easily do that. And you can also make selections directly on the chart. Just note that the selections that you make are actually just above the axes, not on the axes. And you'll see as that's updated, it's basically saying it has not identified any outliers, any runs or any trends, and therefore has also not put in any recalculation events. So that's the overview of the Acumen I-Chart that we've developed to date.